Hey, it's Cherie from Big Notes Get Votes, and seeing as we are in the lead up to Halloween, I thought I would bust out a few of my gig horror stories. Now, there are actually quite a few, so these are the lowlights, highlights, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to highlight 3 of my more tolerable to tell again gig horror stories. Number 1, well, it's basically getting bashed in the face with my microphone. And this one has actually happened quite a few times. This one has happened, a lot. I'm just thinking about all the different times. But the 2 that I'm thinking of specifically, one time, there was literally a guy dressed like a pirate, and it was not Halloween or a dress-up situation. And he was swaying, and he was super close to the stage, which was actually on the floor, the same level. They'd kind of like made the dance floor into the stage and just separate it with the monitoring, which is what we use to hear ourselves when we're singing, if you're not using like in-ear monitoring. And so what happened in this situation is that because they were on the floor and he was kind of swaying closer and closer, and I think it might have even been New Year's Eve, so there were tons of people, and this was at a very popular entertainment venue here in Auckland, New Zealand, where I live. And this dude ended up swaying, and falling onto, or kind of tripping up onto the monitor. And the mic stands quite close to the monitor. You have it, depending on the type of monitor, you'd often have it kind of quite close to the back of it. And obviously the microphone in line with your mouth. So he fell onto the monitor, tripped up on it, and just pretty much all his body weight went into my microphone stand, and the mic just went into my face. And I wasn't very happy. I was a bit challenged, but that one wasn't too bad. And I think I've actually had, when I was younger, one of my very first gigs, I had a big rugby player here in New Zealand. Rugby's massive, an All Black. He was there at the gig, and he fell into my microphone. I can't even remember which All Black it was. I've clearly blocked so much of this out. And so I have a chip in my tooth to this day from the All Black. That's my signature that I got from him. Then the pirate, that was always exciting because, you know, he was dressed up like a pirate, and it was a weird, maybe, now that I think about it, maybe he was dressed up for New Year's. Actually, you know what, I don't think he was dressed up. I think it was his special flex. And so, yeah, the 3rd time that happened to me is I was at a very swanky private party. They had hired out this resort up northern New Zealand that's incredibly expensive. Like, we're talking $10,000 a day, and you get like a Ferrari as your car and a butler kind of situation. So it was massive, and it was a wedding. So everyone was getting quite mashed up, and they'd actually flown in from Europe. So the bride, I think, was a Kiwi, and the groom was European. And so all of their mates had come over from Europe. So at the time, I was working in my entertainment covers group called Diva. There were 3 girls, and we would do these great harmonies and these dance moves. We're basically Destiny's Child, or Destiny's Mukapuna. If you're in New Zealand, you'll understand that little joke. So we did a lot of amazing, great gigs, high profile gigs, and sometimes these private parties. So this was a situation where family had hired this amazing place, and they were on the dance floor in this kind of lounge area, because this beautiful mansion was set up so that you were literally up on a cliff and you were looking out with glass everywhere, and they'd set us up at the back of the room. Again, I'm seeing a continuous theme here, but set up on the floor with the monitors in front of us. And luckily we had our own sound engineer and management at the time that was looking after the majority of the situation. But sometimes it's hard to know as management or your team, you know, when you've got it handled and when things have gone too far. And so things were going a little crazy, but we are quite feisty. The 3 of us, we'd been around the block a few times, so we knew how to handle ourselves in performances. Heckling and things like that was the least of the worries. But in this particular situation, one of the punters picked up my fellow singer, who is she's tiny, and he just lifted her up, which in itself, this was quite a few years ago, so not very PC, and it wouldn't likely be done today, fingers crossed. He picks Ellen up, he swings her around, her feet smash into my microphone, might have even been in my hand. Yeah, I think we were in quite a tight space. Smashed into my face, and it was a wireless microphone, and I could feel the blood pooling in my mouth and I could taste it. And because it was a house and we were set up at the back of this lounge area, just to the left of our stage setup, there was a bedroom and a bathroom. So I was quite proud of myself for this. I actually continued singing, but I walked off stage with a cordless mic and got some toilet paper that I could put into my mouth. But I managed to keep my harmonies going. I don't think I was singing the lead part at that point, but I was pretty proud of myself, but I was pretty annoyed. But the other two stories are kind of perspective relative. I just realized this was also at the entertainment venue that was very popular that I used to work at all the time. And I like to think because I was there so much, that's a contributing factor rather than the clientele. But the fact that we used to refer to it as the Star Wars bar probably gives you an insight into the awesomeness of that place. However, I was very, very, very grateful for being able to have a gig. That's a disclaimer, especially now where we're not gigging. But also, it was my job was I was a cover singer and I was gigging 3 to 4 nights a week and often at this particular venue. So I went up for a break to the bar, had a drink. After singing what I thought was an amazing set, I was giving it my all, I was going hard, came back to my stool where I was sitting, and there was a little cocktail napkin on the stool, and it had a little note, and sometimes people would write requests. So they'd say, can you do My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion? True story. But this time the request said, hey, your voice is terrible. Could you please stop singing? It is ruining my night, or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I thought, and this is what I said on the mic. Welcome back to the second set. I'm Cherie, and to the person that made that request earlier on my stool, I'm sorry I can't do that one for you tonight because I literally had 2 more sets to go. So, you got to laugh at yourself. What can you do? But I must admit, I did feel a little weird. Who would do that? Who on earth? If you're watching, why'd you do that? Tell me, please. Anywho, last moment. Oh, God. This is literally the same place. I just realized I'm connecting the dots. Same venue, different band, so with my 3-girl group. And we had done a smashing set. And I was grabbing a water or something at the bar, and this guy came up to me. And honestly, for 5 minutes, he was just so amazingly lovely and flattering, and he was saying things like, your voice is so unique, I can't believe how great your voices blend together, and you've got something special, just going on and on, really overdoing it. And I was like, stop it. No, don't. Come on. And then the culmination of the end of the slew of compliments, he said, the amazing voice, you could do big things in the world, and I really can see you as being a music artist, and you just need to lose weight. And I was like, what did you just say to my face? And not that it matters, but I was in great shape. So perspective is everything. How you feel about yourself as a singer is always important, because no matter what you do, you just can't please everybody all the time. So one of the things I like to talk about as a vocal coach is having a positive mindset as a singer, where you know what your strengths are, you know what your weaknesses are, or things that you want to work on, but you balance them out. You do the work of crafting to make yourself a toolkit, a singer's technique toolkit, so you can always troubleshoot if things aren't going well. And how you feel about yourself in the performance is always what matters, because it's those situations that can really, get you down. I was not down about it, but I did guffaw quite a bit retrospectively that someone felt so strongly about having a say in my life, in my creative life. And sometimes people will say positive things, and that's that. The fine line is how much to believe, whether it's positive or negative, because really the buck has to stop with you. And that's just a really extreme spotlight of positive, not so positive, or opinion based. And there's really not much in that moment that I could have done to make him happy, in that particular area. So those are my gig horror stories. Literally had a million flashbacks of some other crazy gig horror stories. in honor of Halloween. Let me know if you have had any gig horror stories. I've heard a few from my gig friends when I posted on the socials about my blog post, and I would love to hear yours as well. Happy Halloween to you if you're into that kind of thing. I love a good theming, and stay safe out there. And remember, the buck always stops with you no matter what anybody says, good or bad. You're amazing, you're unique, and you are in control of your badassery as a singer and as a creative. Now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I post tips about singing every single week, and if you haven't met me, I'm Cherie Mathieson. I'm a professional singer and a vocal coach, and I love sharing tips and tricks and techniques to help you build confidence in your vocal ability and craft killer performances. But also I like to share the real life behind the scenes going-ons, like the gig horror stories, of being a professional singer. So I hope to see you again soon.